Hi guys, Dizzy Angel Demon here with a quick product review. The kind folks over at Redgrass decided to send me out some products to review. It's actually been, gosh, more than a couple months. It's been a while that I've had this palette here, the Everlasting Wet palette. And I've been testing it out and I really like it. Actually more than I expected I would. And so I decided it's time I make a video and let you guys know what I think. So this is the box it comes in. It's actually really well packaged. They make use of every bit of space in this box to give us the product. On the back we've got some little quick instructions. This is the painter size palette. They've got one that's bigger and it's blue. I think it's like almost twice the size of this one. You'd have to check their website to know exactly because unfortunately I am not prepared, but you can check it out at redgrassgames.com. So you can also purchase this one here. This one here is the painter size, 15 by 20 centimeters or 5.9 inches by 7.9 inches. It's made for miniature painters looking for a good size palette that's compact and easy to carry for acrylic painters. For acrylic paints only. So if you're going to be using like oil paints or something like that, no, not in this. I'm just going to quickly read over this for you guys because you probably can't see it too well with glare and stuff. So it says, save paint. The paint won't dry out during your painting sessions. Stop and start at will. You can stop paint for can't talk. You can stop painting for a few minutes, hours, or days when using the top lid to cover your paints. I actually put this to the test and left some paint in there for weeks, and I kid you not, opened it up, it was still moist enough in there that I was able to use the paint. So yeah, this really works. It says, enjoy. Thanks to Everlasting stable hydration system, you will be able to perform advanced techniques. Easy to use, it works straight out of the box. That is true. Quick setup. So yeah, let's go into that right now. I'm going to show you the pictures here, if you can even see that. Quick setup. Lay 1 hydration foam 2 in the bottom of case 1. Add water until the hydration foam is very wet. I usually let the water sit for a little bit. I like fill it up more than I'll need, and I let the foam soak up as much water as it wants, and then I'll just pour a little bit out because you don't want it overflowing with water. You just want the sponge foam thing that they have in there to be really hydrated. Make sure the level of water does not exceed the hydration foam height. That's actually pretty important because you don't want your paints running everywhere. If the water's too high and it's over your paper, then you're just going to get like paint bleeding everywhere, and that's going to be a mess. Put a hydration paper sheet 3 over the hydration foam. Do not wet both sides of the paper. That's what they say. I actually like to hydrate my paper on both sides. It lays down really nicely on top of the sponge, or hydration foam, I guess is what they call it. And then I will actually use a little bit of paper towel and just blot off any excess moisture that might be on that top layer, because again, you don't want water up there, at least unless you're putting it up there controlled, because it'll just make your paint bleed everywhere. Let's see, remove any air bubbles or wrinkles with the flat of your hand. I just do that with a paper towel when I dab it dry. And the hydration paper should be flat, sticking to the foam with no excess water on top. I'll show you guys maybe what I do. Add your paint on top of the hydration paper and start painting. And then for more instructions and tips, visit redgrassgames.com. That's redgrassgames.com. So yeah, thank you Redgrass for this awesome palette. Let me go over the contents, because as I said, they make use of every bit of space in that box. You get, for starters, the actual palette. It is 2 pieces. You've got the hard case, pops off, has a nice seal around the edge, which is very, very nice because, like I said, I left this for weeks and it stayed hydrated. Now, this is the base. I've been using it, so my little foam pad is a bit dirty. I wasn't very careful, got paint on it. Not a big deal. It does not come back up onto your paper or whatever when you're working later on. It's just stained. Now, the lid can be used for whatever, but if you want, you can either leave it really low because this actually goes up. Let's see, where's my ruler? If you were to use it like that, it goes up 1/2 inch. But if you want, you can actually fit it nicely right here and it stays securely. So this minimizes space on your painting station. It does come with this elastic, which I have never used. That is to go around it when it is closed so that you can transport it. I don't transport my wet palette. I don't think I would recommend it, especially if you have paint or water in there. You're just looking for a mess. I think that everything would kind of move around and be really messy in there. So I haven't really used that. I didn't even use it when I had it for a couple weeks. Just had the lid sitting on top and it was great. Everything inside stayed really nice and moist. It did dry out a little bit, mind you, but it was sealed enough that it stayed moist in there. You get 2 of these, which are the hydration paper sheets, and they're 50 packs. And these are quite durable. They last a while. It's a nice surface area. Fits right over the foam. And you get 2 of these foam sheets that are sealed in plastic, and oddly enough, I was surprised to see that they were moist inside. Like, this here is hydrated. When this dries out, it starts to harden, which weirded me out a little bit. I thought, oh no, I ruined it because I left the lid off to let it dry out, which I usually do with my palettes. But I just wet it, and it rehydrated all the areas that were dried out, so it didn't seem like any type of issue. This one here is a little overly hydrated, probably. It's not too bad, actually. It's not over the paper. So let me just show you. I would normally wet both sides of this, but you basically just want to set it down, and you can just spread it out like that. Now, the reason I like to wet both sides is because, watch, I find you get curling if you don't. So even just by doing that and flipping it, if you don't want to actually go to the faucet, or I like to use bottled water in my palettes because I find it's a little bit more controlled. You know what's happening with that. And there we go. It's ready to go. You can blot this a little bit because right now this is quite wet. So, one moment here. Let me get the paper that I set aside too far for me to reach, because planning is great. Alright, there we go. Yeah, so this is just some paper roll. You can fold it, and then you can just do that. Should be enough to like wipe off any excess water. I find that way there, the paper tends to stick much better. You don't get the curling. Another tip that I like with a wet palette is that I like to keep a spray bottle on hand. If it does start to dry out, you can certainly add water to your pan if it's really dried out, or you can just spritz the corners a little bit, but keep an eye if you have paint on there. Any excess water on the top of the paper is going to tend to lead to bleeding. Oh, and you also get this little paint well, which I have not used. They recommend it to be used for like inks and washes and things like that, things that would be really liquidy and you wouldn't really need to put them in the palette. They're already hydrated enough, and so that's what they recommend this for, but I tend to just put everything in the palette that I'm working with. And the cool thing about this is that, if I can show you without tipping this too much, because I do have water in here a little bit, these are magnets, and you have some on here, so you can set that here if you like, or on this side, and you can, it stays on there quite secure. Even if you have the base elevating, or the lid elevating it off the table, it's still going to stay on there nicely. You shouldn't have any issues with this tipping over and making a mess. Or if you want, you can just, you know, set it on the table like so. So yeah, that about covers it. I've been using this for, gosh, like, I want to say about 4 months now, and maybe more. time has been flying. Life has been super hectic, but it's all good. Yeah, and I have really only positive things to say about it. I don't know anything that I would change. It hasn't built up any odor. It hasn't, I don't see any sign of mold or anything like that. It's got like a textured surface under here, which is kind of good. It holds a little bit of moisture and keeps your sponge from moving around, or your foam. Yeah, there's a little bit of room around here, so if you do need to fill it up while you have something on there, I mean, you can always just grab it and fill it, or you can just fill it on the edge. So if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to drop me a comment, and because I might be not thinking of something that I should mention, or you know, if you guys have any concerns or questions, just let me know and I'll definitely answer, because like I said, I've been using this for a while and really great results. The paper is really good. It's porous enough, I guess you'd say, that it's allowing moisture to come up through it, but it's holding its own. It's not like falling apart or anything like that. It's not super waxy. I think that's good. Yeah, so far no complaints about this. Like I said, very surprised, very pleased about it. Now I'm just going to mention that they did also send me, but I have not had a chance yet to use, 2 wonderful brushes that they, I think, are already producing on their website. The number 2 and the number 2 over 0. And these are like so. So I'll be trying these out and then reviewing them for you guys. They seem really great, but again, I have not tried them, so that's something to look forward to in the future. And then just this past week, they sent me, this is a prototype, a 3D printed prototype of their new holder design that they're planning on making. It spins here, so I guess you would hold it like so. See, the grooved side would fit your thumb, and you kind of hold it like so, and just paint, and then when you want to turn your finger, it just spins. Now there's a little paper on here because they're also producing a putty to stick your mini into, if you can see that. I have not tried this. I just got it, just opened her up, and I'll probably give it a try. I'm kind of a stickler for something that's a bit lower profile, in the sense that, to me, I have small hands and this seems really large. Like, I would probably go with something half the size, because I tend to hold things kind of daintily. Like, I don't notice myself really gripping something, but depending on how you hold something, this definitely has a comfortable grip. So we'll see how it works out. It's looking really good. Stands up on its own, no problem. It has it looks like about a 28mm base. Yeah, about a 30mm base. So it's, you know, your average standard mini. But I'll review this. I'll try it out a little bit and review it and see how that goes. Seems like a good product, and the putty seems really sticky and really good. We'll see how that works out, if you can see there. And I'm just keeping that on it because I have kitty cats and I don't want them to get hair and everything. So yeah, guys, this is the Everlasting Wet Palette by Redgrass. You can check it out at redgrassgames.com. Post a comment if you have any questions, concerns. If you've been using this or you have one and you have an opinion, let us know down below. Be interested in hearing. So it just fits together like this very easily, and that's all I've been doing to store it. I don't tend to put anything on top of it, anything like that. I just kind of toss it on a shelf when I have paint in it, and like I said, you're good for weeks. So the Everlasting Wet Palette, this is the Painter Size by redgrassgames.com. Thanks guys for joining me today. I hope to see you again very soon. I'm going to try to put out some more videos, but life has been crazy wild, hectic, and insane lately. But I miss you guys, and I wish you all the best, and I wish you all a happy holiday season. And yeah, I'll see you again as soon as I can, guys. Bye!